What's going on, everybody? Little Trailfinder tech talk today. Been kind of itching for a new Trailfinder 2. I realized I haven't really done much with this one. So this one is pretty much box stock. It has a few mods on it that I've done, things that I do to all of them. And we'll talk about that real quick. But I made a couple changes here. The thing with the Trailfinder 2 basic kits, I like them to set low. And that's not an easy feat. Usually up front you have to use the Gelon 2 shock hoops, the stock shocks, and move them up, and it gives you a little bit more clearance. Then you have to raise the servo, because the servo horn will hit the front diff, and yeah, so that'll usually get the front down sitting nice. And the rear, I haven't really got a set way of doing things. The main thing with Trailfinder 2s, I've been talking to a lot of new RC4wd drive folks lately. You got to break in the leaf springs. Take it out of the box, take all but the main leaf and the second longest leaf off of it, and just drive it around a whole bunch. Drive it around, bounce it around, run it over gravel and yard, wherever, your living room. Just drive the snot out of it, and the leaf springs will break in. It's not going to be an SCX10 ever. It's never going to flex and do all that fun stuff that the regular linked crawlers do, but they can be made to be very scale realistic crawling trucks. So out rear on this one, I had the stock shocks. They're 100 millimeters, and they work great. They still feel good even though they're kind of gunky. But I was having a problem that the shock body was hitting the leaf spring when it compressed. And the only way to fix that, let me flip it around here. Stock shocks were on the innermost holes on this shock cross member here, and that was making the body hit the leaf spring under compression and limiting travel. One side, for whatever reason, was working okay when you flexed it by itself. The other side was just bottoming out, and you weren't getting any movement. So yeah, I had to go ahead and swap shorter shocks on it so I could move them out to the second from innermost hole. These are the new 80 mil Bilsteins. I'm pretty sure all the scale shocks from RC4wd Drive, whether they're just the scale shocks, the Bilsteins, the Old Man Emu, Rancho, they're all basically identical. It just depends on what sticker you get with it, if you get one at all. I like the Bilsteins. I have the Bilsteins on both of my real cars, the 5100s. But they have changed here recently, and the quality has gotten much, much better. Look for the ones that have a little O-ring on the shaft, and that's kind of like a little bump stop, I guess. But they really improved the quality as well as the finish on them. They're almost mirror finish as opposed to just this kind of, I mean, these are filthy, but yeah, not nearly as shiny. So yeah, swap the 80s on there, and now moved them out, but we also got a little more droop out of the rear, and we have more travel because it's not hitting as bad. It still is a little bit, but under flex, we're getting complete compression of the shock. Under squat, they're bottoming out on the leaf springs. There's just nothing you can do about that. One reason why that is because this is the Yoda 1 axle. The Yoda 1 axle only has mounts on the bottom side. The Yoda 2 has mounts here and on top a little further in. That's good and bad. It would allow you to clear your leaf spring, but it will require you to run a much, much shorter shock, which will give you much less travel. So it's always give and take with engineered chassis, whether they're real cars or RC cars. But I think we made a good compromise here. We've got the back down a little bit. We've got quite a bit more droop. I think it complements the front a lot better on this particular truck. Had to rearrange my exhaust. This is a 3/16 or something steel brake line from O'Reilly Auto Parts, and a Bic lighter that was cut open and spray painted silver. So I had to take it apart and hammer and bend my tailpipe, even worse looking than it is, but hey, we got scale exhaust. But another issue with these setting low, which is what we did in the first part of the video, we clearance the front fender. So with it setting lower, we've cleared the servo horn, we've moved the shocks upward, and this one has this extra weight from this kangaroo bumper, so it is a little droopy in the front still. I'm hoping once we break in those new rear shocks it'll even out a little bit. But causing a lot of rubbing. The tire basically set further forward in the wheel arch because of the way it travels. The stock TF2, your hangers on the rear, your shackles on the front. Unlike a real Toyota of the era, they were shackle front, hanger rear, or vice versa. But yeah, I have that one truck with the A&M Garage flip kit. I don't like the way that performs, I don't think. I prefer the way this is, and I imagine that may be the reason why it is done this way. It just seems to flex better and have more control under articulation. Don't know if it's just my imagination or there's actually something to that, but to accommodate that, I had to widen out the front wheel arches a little bit. And you have this flat lip, this face here on the front of the fenders. My red Hilux, I've completely widened it out because we're running those huge tires, and it just works fantastically. I use a sanding disc on a Dremel, and I just get in there at an angle like this, and you just kind of work it out till you get to this flat edge right there, and everything on the inside's gone. But on this truck, we just did, about the front inch, and also took off the bottom screws for the grill. They just have to go. Another issue with this one, having a full front grill bumper piece that the bumper bolts to, it was affecting where the shackles flex. So right now the shackles can flex all the way up. Right now that's hitting on the bumper, and then they droop down. So having that stock grill piece hanging down low is kind of limiting travel, and you can clearance it and notch it or however you want to do it, but I went ahead and just chopped all that off. This truck used to have my old rusty, it was baby blue colored Hilux, and I did this one. This came with this was for the chassis that's on the 4Runner, and I'm still not 100% sold on this bumper. It is heavy, and I think we need some weight out rear to counteract it, or we need to just do away with the bumper altogether. But yeah, I swapped this body over to this chassis because I didn't have anything to do with it, and it's really one of my favorite weathering jobs. I really love how this came out. But it was time to try to tidy this one up a little bit, and hopefully we can get some more wheel time on it. It's time for electronics upgrade. We're still running the stock 35 turn RC4wd drive can motor and the Hobbywing 1060, I believe, in that one. So it's definitely time for electronics upgrade on it, but it's going to stay leaf spring. The chassis has been rebuilt with all scale hardware, and I've got the another thing to help lower the rear and keep things correct. I have the Bauhaus rear shackle mounts. Forgot to show that when I was in there. I'm not sure if you can see the little bone logo. That just helps the angle of the shackle. It moves it back just a hair and keeps things jabbing right. What's up, guys? So, I don't know where I left off on this video. I've been sick the past week. Luckily not the COVID, so got checked for that. But still congested. I probably sound funny. I can't really hear out of one ear, but nonetheless, finally got this truck out today and tested out the things we did. But we're still breaking in the leaf springs, but you can see out there how your Trailfinder is going to perform, basically. It's going to be pretty stiff. It's not going to compete with SCX10s and things like that. It's just a different animal altogether. But this is how I like to set them up. I like to get them as low as I can for the scale look. And yeah. So, don't know what else we can really try with it. I may swap the front bumper back out and we'll see how it does, but I don't know yet. Everything's up in the air right now, just trying to get out and have some fun. I'm excited to use this body. I moved it around from chassis to chassis a little bit, and it didn't really fit this one, as you saw in the beginning. We had to widen out the wheel arches and things like that, but got all that sorted out. I'm pretty happy with the performance of it, so, you know, it's a Trailfinder 2. Again, it's not going to outflex your SCX10, and if you do, you're going to have all kinds of problems with it. If you do the Z-boxes and the extra shackle things that they make and all that stuff, you're going to get flex, but then you're going to have driveline issues, and inherently it's going to set higher. You're going to need to run a bigger tire, then you're going to have more rubbing on your fenders, you're going to have to cut more out, and it's going to be more of a hardcore crawler, and it's still not going to perform as well as a CX10 or something of that nature. So the Trailfinder 2 is a trail truck. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but set it up right, you can get decent performance out of it for leaf springs, and have some fun with it. Just want to remind everybody, May 1st is RC4wd Drive's Go Scale Day. Get out, do something. Post pictures on social media, the hashtag RC4wd Drive Go Scale Day, and you're entered to win some stuff. Maybe we can pick some of the coolest pictures, give away some prizes, and they're just trying to encourage everybody to get out and have some fun with some RC cars and friends and family, or by yourself, or whatever you got. So appreciate y'all watching. Keep it scale, and I will see y'all in the next video.